In this section, we'll be discussing basic networking, ipconfig, ping, and pathping. Let's begin with the command ipconfig. ipconfig is a networking command found in Windows that you can use to find out what's the local address of your PC. Now, what do I mean by local address? Let's take, for example, 3 homes. All 3 of these homes look exactly the same. They're all on the same street. Although these homes may be beautiful, the complication becomes identification. How can your home identify itself apart from another home on the same network? How does the mailman know which mail goes to which home? How do your relatives know how to find you on the street? Well, all homes have one thing in common. They have to have addresses to identify themselves. In this example, we have 1902, 1903, 1904. Now we know that your friend lives at 1904 and your neighbors live at 1902 and 1903. This fundamentally is the same as something that your computer uses to identify itself on the network or over the internet. It uses something called an IP address. This IP address is your computer's identifying address over the internet. It's how information knows where it came from, where it's going, how certain web browsers know who you are, how they identify themselves, things like that. Let's take an example of the command ipconfig to start our discussion. I'm going to go in Windows and click Start and type cmd. I'm going to select that. Let's change the color so we can read it a little better. Now here I'm going to type the command ipconfig and hit enter. Now we see we get a lot of different information from this command, but under Ethernet adapter local area connection, we're looking for the IPv4 address. We see that it says 192.168.0.154. This is the address of this PC on this domain. Now, why is this important? Well, let's take a stab at maybe troubleshooting some issues for a user. So we're going to say the system on our left is the user's computer, and the system on the right is going to be our computer, the computer that the technician is using. I'm going to type cmd and open, just as we did before, and I'm going to type ipconfig. Make sure that we have an address on network, and we're set. So now over here, we know both systems are on the network. Now let's take a look at a second command that we can use called ping. Now ping is a networking command. Ping can basically find out whether a system is connected to the network or not. Now combining ipconfig and ping, we start to get into very basic troubleshooting. Let's look at an example. So as stated before, we're going to see our system on our left is our user computer and the system on our right is our computer. So we want to see if this system is reachable on the network. So I'm going to come to our system on the right and type ping, and I'm going to type the IPv4 address 192.168.0.154. I'm sorry, I did that wrong. 192.168.0.154. There we go. And I'm going to hit enter. And as you can see, we're getting replies. Under statistics, we see packets sent was 4, and that system received all 4 packets. Therefore, it had a 0% loss. It has 100% connectivity to the network. Now, sometimes you'll get an individual saying, hey, I'm not getting emails. Hey, I can't access certain websites, things like that. One of your first troubleshooting steps would be to see if you can ping the system on the network, because then you know that it has network connectivity or not. So let's just say our system on our right is the user calling saying that they can't access the internet. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to disable the internet, the NIC. Now we know the system doesn't have internet. So now we're simulating a user that can't access the internet. So one way we can identify, we can ping it. I'm going to type ping, and as stated before, I'm going to type the IP address 192.168.0.154 and hit enter. Now, as we can see, in comparison to our previous report, when we first pinged the system, we actually got replies back. So we know the system was reachable. But on the bottom system, we're seeing that the destination host was unreachable. So now we know that the system is having connectivity issues. So let's go ahead and go back to the system. We're going to re-enable the network. Now let's try to ping our system one last time. I'm going to type ping 192.168.0.154. As you can see, we are getting replies now saying we have a 0% loss and the system is back online. As I said, very basic troubleshooting. Now, the last thing that we're going to look at is pathping. Now, this is a little more advanced. We tend to use this in server admin roles or system admin roles, even desktop, to kind of see not only if a system is reachable, but also how long it may take in between systems to reach a certain destination. And that's good for troubleshooting. Let's go ahead and take a look at the command pathping. I'm going to hit start, type CMD. I'm going to change the color, and we're going to type pathping. And we're going to use a very basic website. For example, let's try yahoo.com. Stretch the window a little more, and we're going to hit enter. Now, as you may see in this example, you'll see at the bottom something that says maximum of hops. Now, a hop is basically a router. How many routers it's taking to reach a certain destination. So we see in the beginning, we were on the domain fakedc.comcav. After that, we went out to our router, and from there we went out to the internet. So we have a log pretty much of all the routers that we had to go to reach yahoo.com. But the difference between just typical ping and pathping, as stated, is going to report back to us the amount of packets that's been lost, the latency in between hops, things like that. Now, the reason why that's very helpful to us, we'll be able to see more in detail of where specifically network congestion is, or where a network is having problems. We know, okay, once the user leaves the company, it's not our fault, it's reaching Amazon and the packets are dropping, or it's reaching a certain firewall overseas and it's dropping. Pathping is very detailed and can help any technician identify certain aspects of troubleshooting. This is going to take quite of a minute, so I'm going to pause the video and come back when it's done. And we are back. As stated before, pathping, the pathping command checks the path taken to a desired site. One of the things that I failed to mention is that it uses about 100 packets to test in between hops for individual routers. So let's go ahead and take a look at our results. The main thing that we're concerned about here is loss sent in the percentage. So as we scroll down, we can see as we start to analyze this data, we have the loss column, the sent column, and the percentage that was lost out of those 100 packets. So let's just say a user is saying, hey, I don't have a problem accessing a certain website, but once I reach that website, things tend to load slowly or things like that. So we can go in and use the command pathping to analyze and see what's going on. So we know in this command we tried to get to yahoo.com, and let's see some of the things we got back in this report. So we're going to look at our routers. We have our domain, we have our default gateway, which is our internet, and we're going to go down things like you'll see 1%, which means out of 100, which is going to be 1 packet loss, 2%, 2 packets, 4, things like that. Some of the things that concerning to us is the 99 percentile packet loss. That means out of 100 packets, 99 failed, which isn't a good thing. So we know within our route to reach yahoo.com, we have about 3 gateways that report a 99% loss of data. And chances are, if you notice after those specific gateways, other packets tend to increase the amount of data that is dropping as well. So we know in this example, when we go down to the 99 percentile loss and we start looking at the percentage loss after it reached this particular router, 2%, 4%, and it went up. So we know this router here is tending to having a certain type of problem. Also, if we go down to our third 99%, we see that it also goes up. 1 packet was lost, then 4 packets, then 3 packets, then 4 packets. So we see in our route to get to yahoo.com, we can see which particular router or gateway is dropping traffic and possibly slowing connectivity for our users. I hope you guys enjoyed this course. As I stated, this is an introduction to very basic networking. We covered ipconfig, ping, and pathping. I will see you guys in the next course.